Egress typically refers to a path that leads a person from a building to an outdoor area, particularly for safety during an emergency situation. Two-headed emergency heads are often installed outside buildings to provide illumination when there is a power outage or some other type of emergency requiring evacuation. Metal halide fixtures are a common choice for exterior building lighting. This is because they provide a high light output and have a long lamp life, which makes them suitable for illuminating large areas. Quartz restrike is generally not required for metal halide fixtures. Instead, these fixtures typically use a hot restrike or hot restart mechanism to relight after a power interruption. This mechanism allows the lamp to reignite without a long delay. In certain situations, emergency heads can be tied into exterior lighting fixtures. This means that the emergency heads are powered by the same electrical circuit as the exterior lighting. This setup ensures that the emergency heads will operate even if there is a power outage affecting the main lighting system. It is worth noting that local electrical codes and regulations may dictate specific requirements for emergency lighting and egress pathways. It's always best to consult with a qualified electrician or lighting professional to ensure compliance with all applicable standards. The path of egress must be adequately illuminated to ensure safe evacuation. This often means providing a certain level of light intensity along the entire path from the interior of the building to a safe outdoor location. Emergency lighting systems, including the two-headed emergency lights, need to be powered by a backup power source such as batteries or a generator. This ensures that the lights will continue to operate even if the main power supply is interrupted. Metal halide fixtures are known for their efficiency in producing light, but they do have a warm-up period. The hot restrike feature minimizes the delay in relighting after a brief power interruption. If the power outage is prolonged, the metal halide lamp will need to cool down before it can be restarted. Tying emergency heads into exterior lighting fixtures can simplify the wiring and reduce the overall cost of installation. However, it's crucial to ensure that the circuit has sufficient capacity to handle the load of both the exterior lighting and the emergency heads. Consider the color temperature of the metal halide fixtures and the emergency heads to ensure a consistent lighting effect. In some cases, high-pressure sodium fixtures are used for exterior lighting. However, metal halide fixtures are generally preferred for their whiter light, which provides better color rendering. When installing emergency lighting, it's important to consider the placement of the fixtures to avoid shadows and ensure adequate coverage of the egress path. The height of the fixtures should also be taken into account to provide sufficient illumination without causing glare. Regular maintenance of emergency lighting systems is essential to ensure the proper functioning. This includes testing the backup power source and replacing any defective lamps or batteries. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides guidelines for the installation of emergency lighting systems. These guidelines cover various aspects, including wiring methods, overcurrent protection, and grounding. Local building codes may have additional requirements for emergency lighting and egress pathways. It's important to be familiar with these codes and regulations to ensure compliance. The purpose of emergency lighting is to provide a safe and reliable means of egress in the event of a power outage or other emergency. Therefore, it's essential to design and install the system carefully, considering all relevant factors. Consider using LED lighting for both the exterior lighting and the emergency heads. LED fixtures are more energy efficient and have a longer lifespan than metal halide fixtures. They also offer instant-on capability, which eliminates the need for a hot restrike feature. When tying emergency heads into exterior lighting fixtures, it's important to use appropriate wiring methods and connectors. All wiring should be installed in accordance with the NEC and local electrical codes. Ensure that the emergency heads are properly labeled and identified as such. This will help emergency responders quickly locate and utilize the lights during an emergency. Consider using a centralized emergency lighting system that monitors the status of all emergency lights and provides alerts if there are any malfunctions. This type of system can improve the reliability and effectiveness of the emergency lighting system. Provide adequate signage to clearly identify the egress path. This signage should be illuminated and visible even during a power outage. Conduct regular fire drills to familiarize occupants with the egress path and the location of emergency lighting. This will help to ensure a safe and orderly evacuation in the event of an emergency. Consider using a combination of lighting technologies for the exterior lighting and emergency heads. For example, you could use metal halide fixtures for general illumination and LED fixtures for emergency lighting. When selecting emergency lighting fixtures, it's important to consider the environment in which they will be installed. For example, if the fixtures will be exposed to harsh weather conditions, they should be rated for outdoor use. Ensure that the emergency lighting system is inspected and tested regularly by a qualified electrician. This will help to identify and correct any potential problems before they become a hazard. Maintain accurate records of all inspections and tests performed on the emergency lighting system. These records can be helpful in demonstrating compliance with regulatory requirements. When designing an emergency lighting system, it's important to consider the needs of all occupants, including those with disabilities. Provide accessible egress paths and ensure that the lighting is adequate for people with visual impairments. Educate occupants about the purpose of emergency lighting and how to use it in the event of an emergency. This will help to ensure a safe and effective evacuation. Consider using a battery-operated emergency lighting system that does not require a connection to the building's electrical system. This type of system can be useful in areas where it is difficult or impossible to run electrical wiring. When installing emergency lighting fixtures, it's important to follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully. This will help to ensure that the fixtures are installed correctly and will function properly. Consider using a lighting control system that automatically dims the exterior lighting during periods of low activity. This can help to save energy and reduce light pollution. When selecting metal halide fixtures for exterior lighting, it's important to consider the color rendering index, or CRI, of the lamps. A higher CRI indicates better color rendering, which can improve visibility and safety. Consider using a photocell to automatically turn the exterior lighting on and off based on the ambient light level. This can help to save energy and reduce light pollution. When installing exterior lighting fixtures, it's important to consider the potential for light trespass. Light trespass occurs when light spills onto adjacent properties, causing annoyance or disruption. To minimize light trespass, use shielded fixtures that direct the light downward. Consider using a lighting design software program to model the lighting system and ensure that it meets all applicable requirements. This can help to identify potential problems and optimize the lighting design. When selecting emergency lighting batteries, it's important to consider the lifespan of the batteries and the frequency with which they will need to be replaced. Choose batteries that are designed for emergency lighting applications and that meet all applicable standards. When installing emergency lighting systems, it's important to coordinate with other trades such as the fire alarm contractor and the building automation contractor. This will help to ensure that all systems work together seamlessly. Consider using a wireless emergency lighting system that can be easily installed and reconfigured as needed. This type of system can be useful in temporary or changing environments. When selecting emergency lighting fixtures, it's important to consider the aesthetics of the fixtures and how they will blend with the building's architecture. Choose fixtures that are both functional and visually appealing. Consider using a layered lighting approach that combines general illumination, task lighting, and accent lighting. This can create a more comfortable and visually appealing environment. When selecting exterior lighting fixtures, it's important to consider the energy efficiency of the fixtures. Choose fixtures that are Energy Star certified and that use energy-efficient lamps. Consider using a motion sensor to automatically turn on the exterior lighting when someone approaches the building. This can help to save energy and improve security. When installing exterior lighting fixtures, it's important to consider the potential for vandalism. Choose fixtures that are vandal-resistant and that are securely mounted. Consider using a time clock to automatically turn the exterior lighting on and off at predetermined times. This can help to save energy and reduce light pollution. When selecting emergency lighting inverters, it's important to consider the capacity of the inverters and the number of fixtures that they can support. Choose inverters that are properly sized for the load. When installing emergency lighting systems, it's important to provide adequate documentation, including wiring diagrams, the equipment specifications, and test results. This documentation should be readily available for inspection and maintenance purposes. In conclusion, egress typically refers to a path that leads a person outdoors. Two-headed emergency heads are often installed outside buildings for emergency lighting. Metal halide fixtures are a common choice for exterior building lighting. Quartz restrike is not typically required for metal halide fixtures. Emergency heads can be tied into exterior lighting fixtures to ensure they operate during power outages. Understanding these factors helps ensure safety and compliance.